Violent nebulae glow up the wasteland. We enter through the boom room. Its haptic noise stitches together a fierce light trick, then static, then apartment flip. Handstand, the crown molding chips underneath the man. Here we are again. A guillotine glitch, head hung low, a sever in the nexus. Royal blood spilt heavy across the strands. Slick my full head of hair back with the dye. Tell me what it was like being pretty. Just kidding. No, really. I'm so litty from this latex dominatrix moment. I'm just a piece of plastic. He laughs. I understand. I guess we're just not there yet. Understand. I guess we're just not there yet, 'cause I'm here. This bad world vacant except for the bioluminescent plankton dancing in their viscous goop pool net. The kids call it a cultural reset, but this is nothing new. No real stasis. Add the apocalypse boss on LinkedIn and wait patient till he accepts the request. Is this what it's like to be pretty? With a bounty of top-notch booty still forming. We flip-fuck till rosebud, till the storm rains on what's blooming. Trust me, I'll show you even dystopia can be verdant. Fake all future perfects till they come true. Fake all future perfects till they come true, as if added pressure constellated anything, ever. I'm dead star faded, inebriated on Orion's dew. Ring out, ring out. My voice coming through the timeline. Underrated, big, faded energy. I'm so insatiated, I bottle pink wavelengths in the corkscrew for later to mutate my limelight. It's not a party, it's just show business. Call it doomsday impulsiveness. Witness my transformation. My provocation is polynomial and bright. I'll bite. The figure of speech is a temptation. The figure of speech is a temptation till it's spoken, but my mouthbox broken. The mechanic piece my rapture token, a one-way ticket to heaven station. Just kidding, it's not really vacation season. My earthly Gucci is frozen and he knows it. I just want him to stroke it, my couture gender transmutation, but lately he's in no mood to invent. Back on a dying planet, my rent's due. I was never me when I was with you, disagreeable always and unpleasant. He got off on his malicious intent. I get to revel in my resentment. I get to revel in my resentment. My pic only got 10 likes on Instagram. I need your help proving I exist. Inflict me with your cursor sentiments. Blow out my body into dark fragments. Construct me anew, sparkling and blissed. I think I changed when he held down my wrist. His absence burns like a rabbit fucking its own hind legs into oblivion. Bunny can no longer see her silhouette in the smoke. Her mirror doesn't reflect. Her gaudy image is an optic stretch over the storm morning's vermilion. I body slam into the day like death.
望着海一片滿懷倦，無淚也無言，望着天一片，只感到情懷亂，我的心又似小木船，遠景不見，但仍向着前。誰在命裏轉載我，每天掙扎人海裏面，心中感嘆似水流年，不可以留住昨天，留下只有思念，一串串永遠前，好看煙波裏，我懷念往年，外貌早改變，處境都變，情懷未變。留下只有思念，一串串永遠前，好看煙波裏，我懷念往年，外貌早改變，處境都變，情懷未留下只有思念，一串串永遠前，好看煙波裏，我懷念往年，外貌早改變，處境都變，情懷未留下只有思念，一串串永遠前，好看煙波裏，我懷念往年，外貌早改變，處境都變，情懷未留下只有思念，一串串永遠前，好看煙波裏，我懷念
The universe was an accident. I have lived these afternoons of afternoons where daylight was heightened by day, and days came, arrested and passed, unplanned. Isn't like I planned it, naked on my side and away from you. I give you the self I can't see, God. If that's all romance were, how easy it would be. Face down on the bed like just another of your girls. No one can have a body or a baby possessed not through hand nor fuck nor no. You can only raise it right up. Heaven heard through a wavering branches of leaves. Your bare room, just a song in mind. I say listen to what you always knew. Where what's between us is given to be a given. On spring-stiffened, sun-drenched sheets, unnamed love in current abundance, as if the most natural thing, profound in silence. I broke love's name, but I wouldn't glance at 100 trees, interchangeable from a distance, gliding past in 30,000 parallel eternities. I wouldn't fasten a repeated falseness, the way light falls across a vacant floorboard, a presence highlighted by absence. As if thin wings were to be caught, as if I'd want anything not unpinned, if not forever summered. I don't use metaphor to compare my love to anything except what's in the air, the same of which we can finally breathe. So here I am, naked like anyone, and all the disquiet of a human body. I say listen, don't say it back until the weather has cleared. But if love is always making a bed for a stranger, here's his unmade, and I'm undone, light and disheveled in my dumb utterances. If you fear money, you make money, you're God. And if I fear love, exhausting my satiety, well, I've decided to feel enraptured by fear. Violent like this, liberated by this, like how you said it happens naturally, and violence's aim for beauty.
Hi, Jer.
Jerry, you make it to Sayville?
I live in Sayville, Jerry. I relocated here to start a fresh life. I'm pursuing my dream of becoming an art therapist. I thought I told you.
Cool beans. Why don't you hop on the boat?
I don't know. I have several chapters to read on trans-inclusionary craft practices. I need to design an exercise involving popsicle sticks.
Well, what about these public school teachers? Just descended the ferry and headed straight for the palace. 2-for-1 seltzer night.
I'll be right over. Is that wind chimes?
Winding your way down on Terry Street,
Advil in your hand and chacos on your feet. Well, another crazy day, zooming your life away, remotely studying art therapy. This cul-de-sac makes you feel so old. Gen Z day trippers feeling bold. Queers slammed with ATM fees. Should have gone to Jacob Reese, now you need a porta potty. You used to think that it was so breezy. You'd be a poet, the earnings measly. But you're trying to get accredited now.
She's gone to Cherry Grove. She'll bring her own snacks. Long Island lesbians, unimpressed by fanny packs.
Way down the beach, there's a queer at Jerry's place. He opens the door while he then peruses his case, and he asks you where you've been. You describe foliage and the evils of private property. He had this dream about buying some grass. He says, let's put up a sign and wrestle some mess. And you tell him to settle down. There's enough talent in this town. Maybe he can woo a retiree.
A washed-up stoner, Jerry's still grooving. He's a vendor, keeps the lube moving. Seasonal employees make for decent friends.
It's better than the pines, unless you're one of their kind. Ask the chaps at the rack. Doesn't that leather song chase your cracks? Gone to Cherry Grove. She'll bring her own snacks. It's dirty footwear. We'll stop a drag queen in her tracks. I'm so grateful to be a part of this Thank You Poetry Project. My name is Danilo Machado, and this poem is entitled, The Body is Missing. Ambiguous skin skimmed, unread limbs, hallways pressed for passes, prod, examine, quiz, cold call, blank, joking, vulgar. Where you from? Born. In earlier stanzas of only words, I wanted more, longed for less language, felt unembodied, just conceptual, underlined, covers, unsexed, queer only in books. Shush, silent, unspeaking, whisper, decorative, ornament, mannequins, indistinct afterthought, no development of character, still decapitated, no plot points, quick statistic, misprized, calculation, justification, accumulation, blurry, amalgamation, abstraction, plastic, showroom, focus group, faux, figures, fragments, figures, fixtures. False neutralizations, naturalizations, evaporate and press thin, expect insisting fantasies of wellness and capacity, commit violences, dull imaginings of linear evenness and equivalencies, flat signifiers, awash and kind of. Catalogs advertise curated masses organized for jammed hegemony, not uprising. I'm absent sink buzz cut, absent black eyelashes, absent hand washing, skin dry, absent external built-in chest vein access, absent scarring, absent ghost pain, absent kept, absent felt, absent quiet, absent jitter, absent nerves. From forms fill files and boxes and biometrics and EKGs and MRIs and x-rays and gaps and swirling fingerprints and heart valves, scan crops and airports and possible brief and values, numeric and jargon. And where am I? The latest expensive, exacting technology glitches, makes lazy portraits. Now, no flesh, no embrace, no breath, no uncovered mouth, no ungloved hand, no pulls, no push, not quite, all viral, all virtual, mediation, just torn torsos, text, zoom, pixel, pics, X on the upper corner to close. I'm so grateful to be a part of this. Thank you, Poetry Project. Okay. Wow, I can't.
My name is José Olivarez. The title of this poem is Mercedes says she prefers the word discoteca to the word club. Give me words that sing. Ojalá is 3 chickens laying brown eggs. Hope has its own music, but it's behind a paywall. My friends are up to their usual shenanigans, drinking good wine and being sad. My friends don't get into trouble. Trouble wears sombreros and calls it a costume. My friends are traviesos y malcriados y sinvergüenzas. Let me translate. DJ Cash Era is making the walls sweat. Slow jams crawl through the speakers and our hips move like someone spilled syrup over the night. Mercedes is right. I'm always down to go to the discoteca, a word that spins on the tongue like disco balls. Keep your clubs. Cops carry clubs, and in this poem there are no police. Someone spilled syrup over the night. It was us. The moon is a chicken singing, Ojalá, ojalá, ojalá.
Hi everyone, my name is Maxe Doan. Thank you to the Poetry Project for coordinating this epic event. I'm going to be reading an excerpt from a new piece that I'm working on. Today is election day. Last election day, I was at my then partner's house after a shitty day at work. At the time, I was working at an LGBTQ youth program and drop-in space in San Francisco that mostly served unhoused and street-based trans youth. The energy that day could be described as an inhale on pause, tight and uncomfortable, like a normal day, but both compressed and stretched out. Those days, I would usually come home, drink too much wine, take a bath in my partner's bathtub, and cry until they came home from work. Every day was already hard, and there was already a lot to grieve. That night, I think we both cried on the couch with our dog. I was probably drunk. I drank a lot those days. I can drink a surprisingly large amount of alcohol for the size and weight of my body. It's not something to brag about. It's just something that happens when you're living with a black hole. For what it's worth, I'm mostly sober now, and most of the time I think I've learned better how to satiate my inverted absent mass. Today's November 3rd, 2020. I don't quite believe that today in and of itself is any sort of meaningful beginning or end, maybe just some hump in the middle that brings with it a heightened anxiety for what I hope is a collective process of both revelation and decay. That being said, I believe in the material and know that today is hard and scary, and that many of my friends and loved ones will be thinking of each other while bracing themselves for time to continue. For time to continue these days is already a scary thing. Tiny things I do this morning to try to feel human. I make myself a bagel with cream cheese. I drink caffeine to jolt me out of the heaviness of my blob. I feed my dog. I have therapy. Outside there are helicopters, their distinct rhythm and chatter. My ears try to locate the direction of their proximity, as if to mark where the protest is at. After living in Oakland from 2011 to 2016, I learned a lot about both protests and helicopters. I learned what a kettle was. It's when the cops intentionally surround protesters in a way that corners them into an area they can't get out of as a way to prepare for mass arrest, and how to spot when a kettle was beginning to form. I learned a lot about the dance of being in the streets, who to follow, who not to follow, how to keep an eye on your people, how to stay alert, and also about the oscillation between closeness and distance before police begin to shoot and or arrest. At that time, helicopters came hand in hand with protest. Today, I can hear the helicopters hovering, but I'm not quite sure where they might be. Election day is as good as any day to start a book. Why not? Things were horrific before today, and things will continue to be horrific after. Why not try to write through it? Why not try to sift through the horrific and try and find a little book of joy? In the helicopter outside, there is a man unsure of what he is chasing but loves to fly. Something about the sound and vibration and moving like Pac-Man through the air. In his head, he creates a story about who he is and what he does. He creates a narrative of what it means to be a man in the sky. I'm writing you from the 2020 election day. It's just what day it is for some reason, and for some reason where this writing begins and maybe even ends. I'm writing from a point in time before another point, and after that other point, I know things will both change and stay the same. You, as a listener, are hearing this after the fact. It's like we're time traveling together and meeting upon the page. This page that right now is just a screen soaked in the golden hour light. Outside, the drying wisteria leaves are a mossy yellow-green against yellow against light. I can see the same helicopter from this morning. It seems to be tracking nothing but the potential of sun. Thank you.
I was thinking of living when I thought of you. When I imagined you, you were in a field in what some call the Hudson Valley, in the unceded homeland of the Munsee Lenape people, among some stones which are even now glazed with rain, where life and death and growth, decay and rebirth all occur. I was thinking of life and living, what it means to be alive, to foster life, and even to perform live. to be in each other's presence, which, as you know, for the time being, we cannot be. I was thinking of all of the species in this valley and its rivers, wetlands, and lakes, endemic or invasive, coexisting or crowding each other out, both the ones who are alive and the ghosts of the ones who have gone before, all this flora and fauna in abundance surrounding you. And the feeling was like that phrase from the Bible, a heavenly host, which I can't help but love. I was thinking of that idea you had of reading closely, being like a kind of forestry, which implies knowledge of history, care, and harmonious intimacy. And I was imagining you in this valley doing this thing I've never seen anyone else but you attempt to do, which is to perform for an audience the act of writing, as it happens. How listening to you pause to reread, erase, rewrite, unself-consciously dramatizes not only the act of thinking, but also of living. It is as if, in that moment of erasure, anything that is as yet unwritten could be written, as if anything written could be erased. I was thinking of how at the Poetry Project 3 years ago you began such a performance with a poem ending in the lines, "Flesh electric for another moment, ready to breathe the magic of this ritual, all through the blistering chaos that surrounds, so that we may remain soft enough to withstand its towering violence." And I was remembering last summer how we stood side by side looking at a wall of 4x4 floor-to-ceiling Basquiat's, discussing the way he'd painted the words "struck through," nixing or misspelling, he said, to make us look closer, to interpret, to remember the effort of looking through, like that Renee Gladman quote you gave to me. Beneath the noise was the sentence. I was thinking of how today you have been alive for 14,802 days, and how often I've heard you declare your intention to live for a century at least. A declaration made in the darkness that ensued after the death by police of Sandra Bland, so no one could say you'd ended your own life. I was thinking of breathing and thinking, and the powerful softness of your declaration in the face of this towering violence, this blistering chaos, and how Ernst Bloch wrote of the anticipatory illumination that radiates from certain works of art, as if certain acts and objects might convey about them a halo of futurity, potentiality, of a better world to come. And I was thinking of how years ago Dan made a painting in which everything had its own halo, the mountains, a mandorla, the chairs and typewriter, a corona, the telephone, an aureate ring. And I was thinking of how, for the next 350,223 days, I will see you and imagine a halo pulsing around your heart as it beats, and in your lungs as they breathe, a halo in your mind as it thinks, and around your eyes as they read, on your hand holding the pen, on your serif and your arabesque, on the ligature, the weight you give each letter, on the weight you give each word, a halo from your mouth when you speak.
Remember last year? Happy New Year. Remember last year? 2020. It's hindsight. Vision. It's 2021. So we won, but it feels like we lost. You know, that's one thing I do know is that I don't. Right? Oh no. It's kind of the anthem of now. Ow, whoa. Right? Ow. Whoa. Ow. Whoa. Wow. Uh-huh. Huh? It all falls apart.
I used to be a performer, but now I don't know what that was.
It all falls apart. You know, I fell. How do we still have royalty? And I'm not getting out. How is that even a thing? Landlords. Landlords. Give it up. Jeff. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. Hello? Oh, is that my landlord, Jeff? Give it up, Jeff. The jig is up. The jig is up, Jeff. Give up the jig, because the jig is up. Click. Give it up, Jeff. This isn't your mansion anymore. So get off the throne, Lord of the land. And Happy New Year.
Yeah.
It is so good to see everyone. Signs are blank on one side, Jeff, and that's the side I'm reading. I wish we were on the church together, but crisis is crisis is crisis is crisis is crisis is crisis is crisis. Crisis is crisis is crisis is crisis is crisis. Crisis, 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 crisis. And we deal. Art of the deal with it. And I'm an artist. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. Pipe down.
The night started out like any other. Clouds were squatting low in the sky like a broad-shouldered prairie wife giving birth to twins in a cluttered Kansas cornfield. The moon flipped me the bird, and two tan Toyotas trudged toward Teaneck, trailing traffic to tri-state locations off the Tunkhannock. It was a lonely night in a 2-bit year of a century not worth hollering home to Hannah about. The phone startled me out of my reveries. You ever hear a voice so smooth you swear the edges had been shined off with sandpaper made of Santa's satin slacks? Well, this wasn't it. He sounded like two left feet made of hubcaps started a house band at a goose convent. He's a podiatrist, he said. Something's afoot, he said. Yeah, 5 toes, I replied. Don't be corny, he says. All right, I'll put a sock in it. Still let me know what you want. My shoes are laced with something, he says. I've been tripping all day. Sounds like high heels. I'm no drug mule. Maybe you should have worn Velcro, I says. Velcro's a ripoff, he says. I bought these shoes for a whistle 'cause they had holes in them. Yeah, that's where your feet go, I said. Like I was saying, I took a shine to him, but every step I kept falling down. I guess they're slippers, I thought. Turns out I had something in my shoe, he says. Yeah, that's your foot, I thought. I couldn't get a hold of this conversation, a foothold. Heal me out, he says. Something's not right, I can feel it in my soul. I can take a look, but I'm sure you can foot the bill? Can a shoe box, he says? No, but a tin can. We were flip-flopping. A kleptomaniac? Get over here fast before I change my tune. But how will I get there, he asks. Take a tow truck.
Mouth of the Hudson. Over the year, Gipper rooted for me. He really was, considering how weak I'd become. Something of a mirage is being deserted. His concern a canopy I was held beneath. Violence is violence, nonetheless. I was beginning to stoop low on account of my accident near El Cielo. Thus encumbered, I rode the Staten Island ferry nearly every day to work. From my window, I studied souls angling up into arch, my mustache if I grew one. Back then I was entirely advertising an opera, disco, and drugs, serenely composed, if little thought in company beside them danced. What I imagined was an escape. So many times before, there was what we called a mouth hole in the back room. I prided myself on hardly ever opening my eyes. One time I smelled gasoline, its sharp erasure. It was just like me to be a midtown janitor beaten to a pulp after work in the dark. Nowhere to go again, and boom. That's when the market crashed. Suddenly the bars were empty. When I met him, I was limping through, a bandaged wrist, talking to anyone who could listen, with people who didn't exist. The way she looked at me and smiled, the gaze. Here was the Brutus apocalypse to keep us grounded, cord connecting face to air. Thoughts were coming like a pump, where the rhythm made more sense than the how, the high why. We possessed no ideal, no vision of what overtopping loss across the banks would look like. Within that horizon, the people you loved became the people you hated. What you hated slipped in where you loved. I fell for him as quickly as the sickness. Whenever he made a move, he had a custom of pushing his long slope of cheek toward the nearest exit. Then one day, the surgeons informed me with great enthusiasm, we're rigging him up a brand new stomach.
Hi, I'm Jess Charles. I'm going to be reading a few poems. First, I want to thank everyone involved in organizing this and whatever this video must pass through to get to you today. I'm going to read 3 sonnets. They're from a cycle called A Night Cycle, a little night cycle. And they're kind of elegiac love poems, death odes, something like this. Number 6. Could I describe the light on concrete at 5 p.m.? At 5, could I describe the light? What a line divides, a party line, cathexis, meridian. I bare my shoulders since my voice. Was it my voice? Inelegant the light through the leaves. Your number lit up my screen. I click to see another profile bought back from the dead. Weeping in the park again. Light falling through the leaves. Meaning is what of music speech exempts. I burn leaves, bury ash beneath sea rock. You alone transcribe these. I am but a donkey. I follow thee. Nine. What jacarandas do not see? Me, muttering in streets, nothing is happening again. The jacarandas must go. The street lined with jacarandas. No paradise, but the horizon ushering its passage. The sky, an inverted sea. The original sin of what is happening again. A decoupling. The copula too must go. And I am like the jacaranda at the end of the street. Violet upon violet, evacuating itself enough to take itself away from itself. A cycle is what bears repeating. Refrain of shadow on branch. Garlands of anise unmaidening. I would kiss you there. And this will be the last one. 11. There is a place. It bends, nears the possible while we, less than sleepers, busy ourselves with designs fashioned and fashioned still. You have seen it. The endless billboards, canvas stretched across the face. Lovers who speak termless there, where lover is not a military term, where door touches frame and no one longs for a sovereignty they cannot obtain. Where nothing is left undone, not even the ash poets will praise. There is another place, and there is ours, and a night these might be the same. Thank you.